welcome back to Music Why Not. Today I'm here with a band from Canada, Yes We Mystic. You're part of our South by Southwest roundup, so let's get started. We are so stoked to have you guys. I heard your music and immediately I was like, your music is so grand and big, and that's what I really liked about your band. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having
We're
us.
excited. So I guess we'll start off with kind of getting to know the band a little bit more. So how did you guys come together to play music?
Well, Keegan and I were in a band in high school. We've known each other since we were like small children. But we had a band in high school that kind of broke up in a dramatic fashion, and we weren't ready to stop playing music together yet. So we started Yes We Mystic, and the rest have joined us in the preceding years, and we just other talented musicians around Winnipeg where we're from, and so we've Eric is the latest to join us. That's already been a couple years now. So this is Yes We Mystic.
Now, what I really like about your music, well, from my perspective, is that you kind of combine like folk aspects and like guitar music, and you blend it really well together. So how did you guys come about to decide kind of what you wanted to play as a band? Because I know we all come from different backgrounds, so we all listen to different things and we all bring different things to the table. So how do you guys make such a unique sound from all of that?
I think, well, when we started out, I think we kind of had like a pretty rigid idea of like what kind of band we wanted to be, and then over time we like got a little older and we started to realize that like we could break out of those boundaries. But I think like as we kind of like got more keyboards and more guitar pedals and started trying like weirder stuff, I think we kind of held on to some of those things that we started with, which I think it was pretty organic kind of how things came along. It's just sort of started with that realization. It's like, hey, we could like buy a keyboard, and then it just kind of, it kind of just goes from there. And
what did you grow up listening to?
I think we all grew up listening to different
things.
I was more of like a big diva Celine Dion kind of fan when I was young. You were more like
Yeah, I listened to like a lot of bluegrass music, a lot of folk, a lot of stuff because I play the violin, so it's kind of into that area of music.
I went through all the normal high school phases, I think, of like finding my parents' records and listening to like Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix and Pink Floyd, and then it was unfortunate, but when I started finding my own music, it was like when emo was really big. So I had like black comb over and eyeliner and tight jeans and all that stuff.
Yeah, I listened to like just classical music until I was 12, and then when I was 12 I decided that wasn't cool and I should listen to something else. And so then I asked my parents, who were cool, what I should listen to, and they gave me the Pink Floyd and the Led Zeppelin too, and then Queen, and then after that it kind of bloomed.
I don't know. When I was in like junior high school, and I did kind of go through a really brief kind of emo thing, but
That's what connects us.
We're a little emo. I got sad lyrics. And I don't know, just after a while I started seeking out like the weirdest bands possible, because I like this idea that just people were out there just doing whatever they wanted.
I heard the Odessa Steps from the album Forgiver, which was released last year, correct? And what I really like about this song is that, to me, it sounds like a film score. Like, it could be a film score. Like I said about your music, it's so big. You guys just have such a big sound. So how did this come together creatively?
In the beginning, what set us apart was that kind of orchestral, like thinking big. Even when we were sitting there with a mandolin and acoustic guitar and a couple strings, and trying to make music that was big and grand, but not having the actual means to be loud or in your face or grand. So it did kind of branch out in that orchestral way. And then, of course, over the 4 years since that song, we started playing that song, it's kind of evolved, and now we are able to be in your face with it as well, and make it truly big.
When you guys are coming together to make music, are you influenced by your lives, or is it more like the outside world? Because some people really like, it's like their diary, their album, and some people it's like, I like literally said and I observed the world and then I wrote about it.
Yeah.
So for you guys, what was it?
Well, yeah, I a lot of the songs that I've written, a lot of my favorite songs are kind of pretty relatively frank accounts of like personal traumas. One of our songs off of Forgiver, Born Into Language, was just kind of came out of all these thoughts I had about death and like like funerals as a ritual. So it was like less about the event of like the person who died than it was about like all this stuff I thought about.
I feel like sometimes we are influenced as children to kind of take on this role in lives that we kind of have to, like, if your dad's a doctor, then, you know, okay, I'll be a doctor.
Yeah.
But a musician, that's like, usually it's just different because it's inside. You guys have to go through a lot. You're basically putting like yourself out there for people to see and stuff. So it's a lot of intuition. Did anybody influence you to start playing music?
I mean, I never took music lessons growing up, but my dad always played guitar, and he tried to get me to play guitar, and it didn't stick. And I decided on my own to buy a drum kit because I just wanted to rock.
My granddad, he used to play violin, like back in the day, and I was pretty young. They lived out in the country, like in Manitoba, Canada, there, and they would have like big house parties and stuff, and people would come all over the country and like, or sorry, all over like the surrounding area in the country, and they just have like big jams and stuff. And I just remember when I was like 4 or 5, he would like sit me on his knee, and he'd hold the violin and he'd let me like mess around with his bow and play and stuff.
It's been in me since I was a child, and so I would wake up at 7 in the morning before going to school, and I'd practice piano for an hour. And like I started when I was 5 years old, and
Wow.
did all like my RCM 10 examination, and started cello when I was in grade 4 because my grandma really liked that instrument. So my mom was like, "Well, you're musical, you should play cello." And so I was like, "Okay, I guess so."
Yeah, like my dad's parents are both musical, and like they play in church and that kind of stuff. And then my mom's family, there's like a little bit of music, but it's mostly they're very into like entertainment. Like being an entertainer was like the best thing. Like my grandma or my nana especially, she always loved Johnny Carson or whoever. She just loved being entertained, and that was like the coolest thing you could do. So that was very much in the family. Like she always loved me going out and doing whatever it was, because it was like, oh, cool. That strain of entertainment was definitely encouraged.
And I've never taken any lessons or anything, but my dad played a little bit of guitar, so it's like there was that musical presence. I think I just started being in bands when like a couple friends of mine were starting a band, and I was just there at the right time. Like, can I play drums? And I sort of just like hopped on the bandwagon.
I usually drift away from this question because I feel like everybody asks it, but I kind of want to know, where does your name come from?
I saw that phrase on a bus bench when I was on a bus, and it just passed by, and I didn't see what the ad was for or anything, but it's just this weird, just monolithic, nonsensical sentence that's printed in public. And it was just I lapsed into a dream for a moment, because it was like, what are they trying to tell me? I was kind of just attracted to the fact that this was an advertisement that was trying to sell something, but using this phrase. I won't tell you what it was for. We usually do.
Now you have to tell us.
No. No, it's fine. It was
Interview over, bye.
no, it was for a tanning salon.
Oh, okay.
But still, that phrase, like mystic is not a verb, so it's like it becomes this weird other like incantation like phrase, which I always thought was very cool.
Do you guys remember your first recollection of live music?
I went to see, it was a Tchaikovsky concerto when I was 4 at the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra, and my mom's intention was that we go for the first act, because it was like a bunch of short songs, and we could leave if I didn't like it. And the second act was like an hour and a half straight, and so we were gonna leave for the second half because it was 4, and if I got bored, we couldn't leave. But I made us stay for the second act because I liked it.
Mine was definitely just watching my band, or my dad's band, play in the basement. Just being around, putting little, like, they're really popular now, but the little baby headphones.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't a baby, but
That's sort of the same how I originated playing music, just like house concerts and
As
stuff.
concerts.
Yeah, would go to fiddle contests too. Kind of watch people perform. Kind of got me into it.
My first experience playing music, I grew up in a pretty religious household, so it was going to church, and my dad would often conduct the congregation or be playing the piano, and it was always with like a grand piano and a 4-part harmony, and it was always just this amazing, beautiful thing sitting on the pew coloring my coloring book, and all this music was just kind of swirling around me, and it was really, that's probably or like singing grace at the table and with family, and we'd sing the doxology in 4-part harmony with like the 10 of us around the table, and that was kind of, it's this really, so it wasn't really concerts necessarily, it was more just my family was so musical and just life was musical.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was pretty, cool way to grow up.
I'm pretty sure the first concert I went to was the White Stripes. They were touring their last album. But like other than that, like, there was my dad who like would be just noodle on the guitar like for my entire childhood, and also like we probably went to house parties where some of our neighbors and friends would like play like, I don't know, just sort of old folk standards like together, like on a piano or a guitar and like percussive instruments, and I always thought that was super cool, and I always wanted to be, before I knew how to play an instrument, I would always try and be involved in some way.
Do you guys remember the first record, album, or like CD you ever bought?
Yeah, I definitely do.
Mine was The Offspring's Americana on CD.
Nice.
Mine, I think the first one that I bought or got as a gift was like Big Shiny Tunes
Nice.
4 or something. I don't know.
Oh, that was a good one.
It's like-
Is that
I don't think
Canadian?
That's Canadian.
Yeah.
It's Canadian.
Yeah, it was like it's like a
compilation
big.
CD.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
Compilation,
important to a lot of people, but it was like a dumb compilation CD from the '90s of like the biggest
Like, what do
hits.
you have here now? You call this music or something like that?
The
Now this is music, and there's
Oh,
like
like-
25 volumes.
like the pop song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really popular on the radio when they like put it in like
Yeah, that's Big Shiny
like,
Tunes
the
for us.
30, top 30 or something like
Yeah.
that here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly think mine was Spice Girls Spice World.
Mm.
Yeah, I think
That's a
that was the
classic.
first one I bought. Yeah.
The first CD I ever bought, I wanted to buy Radiohead's second album, and I was like 13 or 14, and then they didn't have it at the store, and I was bummed out because I was of the opinion that only older music could be any good.
Yeah.
So they only had the best of Radiohead and then their new album at the time, which was In Rainbows. And I was like, well, this record just came out, it's got to be garbage. So I went to buy the best of, but then I got to the counter and I was like, oh, if I buy the best of, then I'll never listen, because that's all the best songs. I'll never listen to another song by this band ever. So I reluctantly went and grabbed In Rainbows and bought that, which then became my favorite album of all time, and still is. So,
I know the first album that I bought with my own money was probably some They Might Be Giants CD. But I know that when the first record that like I wanted, that like I didn't buy it myself because I was like 6 or something, and I made my parents buy it for me, was a Duke Ellington CD in a bookstore, because I listened to it on like the headphones they put out, and it's like, this is cool.
Last question I have for you guys. Is there anything you want to say to people that stuck by your side and stood behind your music, or that will potentially watch this interview? We kind of like to finish on that note.
thanks.
Short, too.
We recognize that we started quite different and have become different than we were. So if you're still sticking around, we appreciate that. Thanks.